We will be in Las Vegas Friday night for the Pac-12 championship game, Oregon against Washington, 8 o'clock Eastern time, 5 o'clock local kick, which is very important if you're catching a flight out of there. It's an ABC game. This is the only regular season rematch in all the Power 5 championship games. Did you know that? I didn't even know that. Producer Jesse Special there. This was a classic. We were at the game in Seattle, and the one you're looking at here if you're watching on YouTube. We were at this game. Washington folks think I hate them, which is absurd. Let me give you guys some flowers. This was the loudest game we went to this year. How about that? 70,000 seats up there, Husky Stadium. We were at Ohio State, Michigan. We were at Bama LSU. Bama LSU was the other loudest game we went to this year. There was not, when a stadium was at full throat, a louder environment that I experienced this year than Oregon at Washington, Husky Stadium. Unbelievable. We were there. It was awesome. And so 36-33 was the final. And Oregon, famously, they had 2 turnovers on downs inside the Washington 10. They turned it over again near midfield late in the fourth quarter. And that was the difference in the game. But I thought that people did a little disservice to Washington after the game in the way they talked about that. They talked about that in other words like, well, Dan Lanning screwed this up, and, it was almost like it was independent of Washington. I don't think it was necessarily just flukish that Oregon did not convert. Teams are 13 of 33 on fourth down against Washington this year. It's not just Oregon they've had success against, guys. And so it's very easy to find out how you avoid this. Meemaw used to always tell me, she said, kiddo, if you convert on third down, you never have to worry about fourth downs. Sage advice. Meemaw never missed. Oregon offensively is third in FBS, in third down conversion percentage. Washington's defense is 89th in third down conversions allowed. That should be your ball game. If those stats hold up, or anywhere roughly to come close to holding up, that's your ball game. But sometimes that's not how college football games work. I mean, you could look at the matchups. I've got a piece of paper here. Oregon, better pass rush. The defense is better overall. They got a better run game. They're better at ball security. Oregon's got edges here. That's why they're a 9.5-point favorite, by the way. But you know what I've seen time and time again in college football? I've seen a team have some edges, and then I've seen elite skill play just erase all of it. And Adunze and Polk and McMillan and Bernard, those wide receivers for Washington, if they go off, a lot of that stuff doesn't matter. Because the value, the point value that those guys having big games can bring you in a four-quarter scenario can negate a lot of other edges that the opponent may have. And so that's the great unknown for me in this game. Now, Dunze went off in this last game. So did Troy Franklin. Like both guys, both number one receivers had big days when they played the first time. What will Washington's pass catchers deliver for them Saturday? What will Michael Penix do? Those are great unknowns. November theory is in play here, though. You know, as much as I'm talking about Washington right now and talking them up, they've played very close football games. Oregon has not. Oregon has won 6 straight. They've averaged winning by 26 points per game. Washington's got 8 wins in a row. Well, really, they've won all their games, but their last 8 wins have been by 10 points or fewer. So they've been doing what it takes to get wins, not getting margin on people. And I really think by November, you should believe in trajectories of teams. So let's take a look at what the model thinks. The Vegas number right now, powered by FanDuel, is Oregon minus 9.5. We still don't think that number's big enough. We got Oregon minus 10. Now, you guys know, if you look at the JP poll, you know what? If you look at the JP poll, we're completely validated because this is a neutral site, and that's exactly what that poll's built to do. It's built to tell you what the gap would be, point spread-wise, between one team and another team. Here's what I want to remind you of. It doesn't matter if Washington pulls the upset here. If you guys pull the upset, I'll say congrats. You're headed to the playoff. The JP poll's work is done already. It's already been proven right because it doesn't care what happens in the game. This number right here, right there, that's what we're looking at, or I guess that number down there. We're looking at a point spread. That's why we've had as big a gap as we have between Oregon and Washington, because in the eyes of odds makers, that's how big the gap is. That's it, and that's all. I'll be the first person to tell you, if Washington wins, they're in the playoff. Even though we probably would still not have them, we still wouldn't have them power rated top 4, I don't think. But at that point, it's irrelevant. So anyway, I think Oregon's going to win, and I think Oregon's going to cover. That is my pick for the game. But I do want to go back about 2 minutes to, my biggest fear if I'm Oregon, and that is I figure out early on those wide receivers are dialed in. And I figure out early on Michael Penix is dialed in. Because if he is, Oregon's not running it up. Oregon could get beat outright. They're certainly not going to run away from Washington. I just believe in totality, like the incremental margins of superiority that Oregon has in different places across the board will play out over the span of 4 quarters. I'll put it to you like this because I told someone this last night. Oregon does not have to do a thing different than what they've been doing recently to win this game. I do believe Washington has to go above and beyond what they've been doing lately. If they do it, more power to them. I don't think they will.